Hi everyone, this is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. My guest today is Nancy Perrode. Nancy is a travel expert. She works for About.com and focuses on senior travel. So welcome, Nancy.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Nancy, I love talking to you. We've done a lot of videos on travel, and you are a writer for 60 and Me. And I love reading your pieces because you just love to travel.
Yeah, I do.
and that comes through. But you know, when you get to be 60, you start thinking about all these places you've been and where you'd like to go next. And there's a bit of an adventurer in a lot of older women. And we'd like to do something that's really spectacular, something that's totally unique. So I'm looking to you to give us some advice. Where would you point us?
Well, it's totally unique to me. The first thing that pops into my mind is Antarctica,
Right.
because it's a pristine continent that most people never go to.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to go there now than it used to be. You can take a small ship cruise. There are several tour operators that do this, and you go to South America and then you embark on a ship that maybe has 55 people on board or something along those lines. You sail south and you're in this completely freezing, pristine, beautiful landscape packed with wildlife observation opportunities. Some of the tour operators will give photography workshops or take you on snorkeling expeditions or Zodiac boats, the inflatable side boats, so that you can really get up close to the wildlife and learn how to photograph it better so you have great memories to take home and share with people. It's an opportunity to go to some place that is completely unspoiled, and the world has collaborated to make sure that it stays unspoiled, which I think is a wonderful thing.
Antarctica. So, I interviewed a lady called Jane Archer, who's a cruise journalist, and she actually said the same thing about Antarctica. She was so excited about it, and she's been 3 times, but she loves it. And I can see it's, caught your imagination. Have you been on one yourself?
No. One of my friends went this last year, and she brought back the most amazing photos, and I sat down and learned about it from her, and it's on my list. I would love to go.
Okay. Well, I really think Antarctica is a great, spectacular adventure. So that's number 1. Give us another one that may be a bit more accessible.
Okay. A lot of people talk about going to see fall colors, the beautiful changing leaves in New England region of the United States, and then they don't go, and they go, well, we have leaves at home, and that's all fine. You should go. You have to plan this one ahead, because going to see the fall colors in New England is a very, very popular thing to do. And if you can go on an organized tour, or you can create your own adventure, you can go with your car and drive around, but it's a popular thing to do. So hotels book up, tours book up. You can even do fall colors cruises, small ship cruises. And that's a really nice way to see New England as well. But the colors are undescribable. You can't reproduce them. I don't even think photographs do them justice, having seen them myself. It's really, really beautiful. And there's so much history and such great food in the New England area that it's a really wonderful way to see the country and get close to nature at the same time. And so I highly recommend that.
Okay, so when you say New England, what states do you mean specifically?
Well,
what are the best?
Okay. Well, a lot of people go to Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. That's northern New England. If you're going on a small ship cruise, often you'll go to Maine because there are a lot of small seaports. Bar Harbor is one that leaps to mind.
Yes.
Kennebunkport is another place that people go, famous for President Bush and his son, President Bush, and their families have a compound there, and you can actually see it from the road, but you can't go onto it. Of course, the Secret Service is there to tell you not to. But so that area, also farther south in Massachusetts, the colors are very beautiful. So you just sort of start at the Canadian border and work your way south. Upstate New York has beautiful colors too, although that's not technically the New England region, but all of those states.
Wow. No, that sounds fantastic. I've never done that, but I lived in northern Canada when I was a kid, and we got a lot of beautiful trees up there. But I've heard what you said is true. And I think Maine, I think I've had several people say that Maine is for them their favorite place. Bar Harbor, you mentioned, I think, is one of the places that's been mentioned. So
Right. I was in Kennebunkport this spring, and I loved it. The people are so nice. Of course, the seafood is fantastic. It's just a fun and very relaxing place. All those Adirondack chairs you see in hotel brochures tours. Boy, you sit out there with your little glass of water or whatever and just watch the water. It is the most relaxing thing you can think of to do. And then if you have stunning fall colors on top of it all, wow.
And they actually call these people that, like you and I, the peepers, right?
Yeah,
We go peep for
yeah.
the light, changing colors in the trees. Peepers. Okay, so that's great. One place that I've gone, I've got it on our list here to chat about, is India, and I've traveled in India probably 10 times in my life. It's one of those places I always go back to, but and I think it's a spectacular country in terms of culture and color and people. But tell us why you think that India is on your list of spectacular trips.
Well, I think it's not only the famous places, of course, the Taj Mahal, that's sort of, everybody wants to see the Taj Mahal by moonlight. But also India is home. It's the birthplace of four very important religious. So whether you're interested in learning about Hinduism or Buddhism, Sikhism, and the Jain religion was founded there as well. So all of those faiths have wonderful sites that you can visit. If you are interested in the Sikh religion, you should go see the Golden Temple and spend time. They're very welcoming. They want you to learn about their faith, and they offer every day after their religious service, they offer a meal that you can partake in, for example. So just the idea that you can be in the homeland of these four traditions and learn about them, that's going to change you and open you to a lot of things that maybe you hadn't really considered before. So to me, that's one of the great reasons to go to India. And it would be a once in a lifetime opportunity for many of us. And I 10 times, I would love to do that.
And isn't that why you travel in general? You want to be changed by the place. You want to have something happen there that makes you think and that helps you to grow as a person. And for me, India has that. It's got a very ancient tradition. I know when you go to some of these places in India, I think you actually love it or hate it. It's one of those places that you get it, you don't. Is the cities they may be considered a bit run down. You may think that the streets aren't as paved as well as they could be. But these places are thousands of years old,
right?
And they're doing reinventing themselves, but they want to keep these historical monuments to recognize, like you say, either the faith or the culture. I love Rajasthan in the north. Some of the buildings up there in Jaipur, Udaipur are just breathtaking. So India's on my list too. I'll go back there probably 10 more times, hopefully, in my life. So, okay, so we got India. Tell us about, I think Cuba was on your list, yeah?
Yes.
For a spectacular visit.
I think Cuba is a once in a lifetime opportunity, not because it's going away or anything along those lines, but because now is the time to see Cuba. As the doors open between Cuba and the United States, more and more people are starting to go there. And I think that's great because Cuba has maintained a really great, vibrant culture. They have spectacular music to listen to. They have beaches. There are a lot of things to see and do. But Cuba is going to change as more and more people visit the island. And now is the time to see it the way it is now, as the doors have just recently opened, before people change the way Havana looks or build giant resort hotels or whatever the Cuban government decides to do to take their country in a new direction. They're obviously doing that. And so now's the time to see Cuba.
And I think when we talk about once in a lifetime, it is the kind of place that you probably would only go one time because it is, it's so unique. And you many people, I've got it on their list from times that when you could not travel to Cuba. So this, I think, is right. And the thing about once in a lifetime too, is that every time you go, it's going to be a different lifetime.
It is,
in the sense that you'll go back different. So maybe all these places we've talked about are places you can go back to more than once. So now, okay, let's talk about one that's closer to me here in Europe, which I love. And that is, you wrote down that the Rhine River was for you a once in a lifetime trip. I just got back from a river cruise with Viking on the Rhine. And I'd love to hear what your perspective is. I know what mine was, so go ahead.
Well, I have to confess that I've visited the Rhine River many more times than just once. Perhaps it's my version of your India. I'm of German American heritage, and I have friends who live in Germany. So Germany is a place I like to visit often. But I think the Rhine River is one of the, as main rivers in Europe, and I would say the Danube would be another
Yes.
choice
Yeah.
for an expedition like this. The rivers of Europe are what tied the people together and allowed
Absolutely.
trade and cultural exchange to happen from the very first years of human settlement in Europe. And so when you go up and down the Rhine River, whether you go on a Rhine River cruise, which of course is a wonderful, wonderful way to see it,
Yeah.
or whether you do a drive along the Rhine, which I have done, and just stop in various towns and explore and, spend the night and what have you, you see the layers of history. You can see Roman
Yeah.
ruins right along the Rhine. You can see medieval castles
Right.
along both sides of the Rhine. You can go in them. You can climb around in them. You can see them in the middle of the Rhine too, because
Yeah.
every local lord had a defensive castle to protect the part of that territory that he was in charge of.
Right.
So you can see that. You can see the towns grow up and some of
Yeah.
the old parts of the towns are still there, and you can wander around cobblestone streets and have meals in buildings that are, hundreds of years old.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just there's so much history there and so much culture there, and the cuisine is really good. People tend not to think of German food as fabulous, but it really is. And if you have your nice meal with a glass of local Riesling wine, I assure you, you will enjoy it. So I just think there's such a great sense of history along the
Yeah.
river, and everybody loves being by the water because it's very relaxing. So there's that aspect as well of just you feel as you watch the river flow by, like your troubles are going away with the river current,
You
and you just
do.
relax and
Yeah.
blend in and enjoy the time that you have there.
Rivers do have such a power, but they're so calming. I found that on the river cruise, particularly,
Mhm,
it's not like being on a cruise ship where you're rocking about. You're skating on the water.
mhm,
And I specifically, I know you loved it too, is that portion of the Rhine where you see all the medieval castles. Is it the
mhm,
Rhine Gorge, I think? But I was
mhm.
just enchanted by, like you say, what went on there thousands of years
Yeah,
ago. It's a magical place.
it is.
So
It is. To me,
Rhine,
it is. Yep.
the Rhine. And there's lots of companies that do cruises along there.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
as you said, you can drive along the coast as well. So,
Yeah. And you can take KD Lines does the day cruises, so you can
mhm,
just go from one place to another if you don't want to spend money on, a
the whole
multi-day Rhine
time.
cruise, but you want the experience of being on the river. They've been operating for decades, and
It's great.
they have observation areas on the tops of their boats. You can sit out in the sunshine,
Okay.
and so if you can get on at one city and then get off at another, and it's very affordable.
All right. Actually, I met some people who were doing that because when we
Mhm,
stopped at, I think it was Koblenz or Cologne, others
mhm.
were just on for the day with another cruise
Right.
line, but not on our boat, but on other smaller ships. Anyway,
Mhm,
so you've got one more that you mentioned, which I'm actually
mhm,
very fond of too. One of my sons lives here in this country, and
mhm.
that's Scotland. So tell us about
Yes.
why Scotland. Why is that
Well,
spectacular?
I in the United States, you almost have to be living under a rock not to know about the popularity of the Outlander television series on the Starz network. And I think
Yes.
that has rekindled the popularity of Scotland. But what makes Scotland special has always been there. And again, a lot of it is just amazing natural beauty, not like Antarctica, not like, the Himalayas, but, hills, the lochs, the
Yeah.
water shimmering in sunlight peeping through clouds, because often you'll have a quasi cloudy day there. The idea that you can walk through the highlands or take a canoe trip. There are rivers to see. And then the
Beautiful.
cities are there, Edinburgh with its twisty, windy streets, and some of the smaller cities as well. There's just a lot of magic about Scotland. And you do feel, even by looking at photos, that,
Right.
it's sort of otherworldly. And I have to anyone who didn't love
Yeah.
every minute. It's just one of those places that you can so easily fall in love with.
I agree with you. And, in there's like the big cities like Edinburgh, Glasgow, but then when you just go 20 miles outside,
Right,
that
right,
rolling
right.
green hills begin, and then you move up to the lochs. And like you say, it's another
Yeah.
magical place. And that's what maybe makes these places once in a lifetime is that they're kind of, they're going to change you. You know that they're going to they're going to touch you somewhere. So I think we've given people, I think 6 really good ideas. And if you've got other ideas too, or places you've been that really changed you, or that were just once in a lifetime, leave those comments below. We'd love to have a conversation about it. And of course, if you have questions, go visit Nancy on about.com. And she's got, as you can tell by her conversation today, a wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much, Nancy, for being here. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.